She hasn't got hold of me yet, even though I annoy her a little bit.
How's it going, guys? So today I'm visiting Andrew and Terence Rogers' place and we are looking at Australian turtles.
Terence Rogers.
I'm his dad, Andrew, even though we look a little bit different.
Yeah.
He's my son. He's got freckles. I actually got started earlier in interest in turtles because when I was a little kid, I was walking to school one morning taking my little brothers and sisters and neighbours, and I picked up there was a long-necked turtle in the dirty dust on the side of the road. There was no footpath there, and there was a turtle there. I was walking to school, I was 10 years old, I picked the turtle up, and I thought, oh, you beauty, I got a turtle, and I'm looking around and I didn't know what to do with it, and I had to take the kids to school. So in the end, some high school boys were walking past and they saw the turtle, and I was pretty naive when I was about 10 years old, and the boys said, we'll look after it for you and we'll meet you here in the afternoon and give it back to you. So that was the last I saw of the turtle. So that was my first introduction, but the next introduction was picking them up off the road and being interested in bringing one home all those years ago and putting it in a pond. And I don't know, I don't think we tried to feed it lettuce like everyone does, but we thought about it. And it sort of started from there, and Terence didn't really have much choice.
Yeah, I grew up with them all around me, so it was a logical option to choose to love them.
Now it's just turned into a full-blown obsession.
Yeah, it's sort of taken over. But they're pretty cool creatures. There's not a lot to not like about them. I can see why some people might not like some reptiles, but I feel like turtles are pretty hard not to like. Most of what we keep here, if it can be kept outdoors, they're kept pretty much the same. They can handle very cold conditions. Our ponds get to down the very coldest, probably about 10 or 11 degrees, but that would be a bit of a peak low, I guess. These guys thrive outdoors a lot better than inside. You know, we've raised them inside, but as soon as you move them outdoors, it's just another world.
Yeah, it's night and day, isn't it?
We call this the Telstra because it's the big pond. It's probably about 7,000 litres. It's got Cooper Creek Girl, sawshell turtles, and albigula, the white-throated snapping turtles, you know. So it's getting a bit old now. We just made it with sleepers dug into the ground, and then used what we dug out to make land areas around the side. 220 litre barrel filter system on the outside, and yeah, it's been pretty problem free.
So this one's our newer pond. This one's, we learnt from our mistakes on the old Telstra pond. We layered the sleepers, so we had a bit of a stronger foundation, to be less flowing through time, I guess. In here we've got longies, got Macleays, Stirlings, what else? Bells as well.
This is about 1.2 metres deep, pretty much throughout. You've got a step up there, so it's easier to get up on the other side. And the same barrel filter. So that comes from a submersible pump in the bottom of the pond, a dirty water pump. Pumps up to here, it pipes to the bottom of the filter, and then it filters upwards. I can drain the filter down here too with that one. Whoops, sorry mate.
You're right.
And so it pumps down to the bottom there, and it's got the big outlet there, so it goes out to here. We're running 2 ponds off this one filter at the moment, and one to this pond over here, and then that drains, gravity feeds out into that pond. So we need to separate that soon. But this filter, so it pipes down to the bottom. It's got a clear open space at the bottom where it swirls around and collects a bit of crap, and then we've got some bread crate and layers and layers of bird netting that collects a lot of the rubbish, the detritus and everything. And then the biofiltration, we've got bags just below this crate here. We've got bags of bio balls, all sorts of media that'll hold that good bacteria. And then we just hold it down very primitively with river pebbles on top. That keeps it down, and so it's clear at the top for the outlets to work there. So pretty simple setup.
In these ponds we've got a few more Marys, we've got the bald rock belli, a couple expansa, keep the bald rock.
She's full of eggs.
A pair of Worrells in here that have been outside now for about 3 years, and they're doing well. Sort of a little experiment we're doing to see how they do outside, and doing well. So things look heaps better with a bit of sunlight as well.
And what's the tub? Is it like a aquaponics tub or something like that? What is it?
Yeah, I think it was like built for koi farms or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's using it for marron breeding.
Marron, yeah.
And then so you can fill it up.
Yeah, we
to the
just
top.
attach some of this. What's this stuff called? Garden edging or something like
just
that?
the garden edging. This
And,
is just one of the more northern source shells from the little satellite pond that we've got there. These are beautiful when they're younger, these things, so hoping they breed sometime soon. They live outside here too, in throughout winter. They do quite well. So we've got 3 layers there. There's 3 bits of timber there. There's one underneath, and there's the second one, and then this one here. We keep these here. The turtles like to move them around. There's a big log through the centre there that they hide under. They hide under this ramp here, and of course we've got our buckets we put in there. There's buckets lying around that they like to hide in. Just a bit of weight on the bottom. No turtles in there. They usually like to hide in there. They're coming out now because they think they're going to get a feed because it's the afternoon. But yeah, it's just good to have a bit of furniture in there so that they can swim around it and hide under it.
Yeah, some good visual barriers and stuff like that as well for them.
We've got a nesting area on both ends of this pond. We just leave this growing in here. Sometimes we thin it down. This is just a sandy soil. Because I'm a greenkeeper, I can sort of mix up my own mixes. But so yeah, this is just a fairly sandy sort of a mix, but there's enough soil so that they can form a hole. So you can see that they can easily form a hole when they decide they want to nest. This is the favourite spot for that big albigula girl, the big white-throated snapper. She always nests in this spot here. But the sawshells will lay anywhere along here. Wherever you think they're going to lay, they don't lay. They lay somewhere else. That's pretty much what happens with turtles. They do that. So yeah, it's just got to be, and this is quite deep, so they're never going to hit the bottom with anything there. But we let the weeds grow in here in winter, so it stops them running all the sandiness and soil back into the pond.
Have you ever missed a clutch before and had them hatch out in here?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we think we do, but sometimes the sawshells will double clutch, so you sort of miss out on it. Fiddle around in here and rough it up sometimes, but if something's digging, you can see straight away because of the different colour. So it's sandy on the top and a more soily on the bottom, a heavier soil on the bottom, so you can always tell when anything's laid there. This is where it all starts with some of our turtles. So we've got the incubator there, our baby setup. We've got eggs here from just a recently induced Macleay river turtle. We induced her. Got them in the incubator at 28 degrees, just under 28 degrees. These are the eggs from the albigula, the Alcea albigula, the white-throated snapping turtle. So she lays 6 eggs, 6 decent sized eggs. They've been in a temperature diapause for 1 month, so the incubator has just been switched on, so they should start to develop just now.
I counted 7 eggs.
How many did I say?
6.
Oh, 7 eggs.
I'll leave that in.
Yeah. So this is where we put them after they hatch. This is just running. I leave it running all year with just a few fish in it. There's probably some fish in there. Just keeping it going. A little submersible pump and a filter that runs non-stop. Bit of artificial weed for the babies to sit in. A bit of real weed. This is mainly to seed the system again because I'm re-establishing it. And some little rock. I usually don't fill it quite this much, so they sit on that converted dock. have a mercury vapor light that's on an hour or two a day, and just other times we have other lights here as well, otherwise a small heat light as well. So we give them ultraviolet light and just straight light as well, heat light, and we take them outside all the time. They spend a lot of time outside with us, so they graduate from here to deeper water after a few weeks or a month, depending on the species. Some species are strong straight away. Pretty much everything we breed is pretty strong after a few weeks to go into deeper water, so we'll have a look at that. After they start to grow, we graduate the bigger turtles to a tank this size. Is a 5-foot tank with hiding area, canister filter, some areas to hide, that pot in there, a couple of plants, a docker's there with just a little halogen heat light, and we got the ultraviolet, the UV B tube there, T5 running there. Water quality, we obviously have a canister filter on all of these setups, a well cycled canister filter. You know, probably give the filter a flush. You don't clean the filter, you just give it a flush, get some of the heavy stuff out of it. Probably do that. In a tank like this, every 2 to 3 months. Sometimes they're not, depends on the amount of traffic in there really, the amount of biomass that's swimming around in there. We keep sand and cow grit as a substrate. Cow grit keeps the water alkaline. It's good for the turtles, shell, slightly hard water. We never seem to have too many problems with water quality. People should be checking it to make sure it's okay. But you also have to understand that it takes a long while for a turtle to succumb to problems. So little ammonia spikes and things, if you have them, is not really an issue. Sometimes we get a little bit too worried about those things in the short term, but long-term problems obviously you have to deal with. Turtles are fairly hardy. We still need to give them a good environment to try and make them survive. We do a water change on here, something like this. It's not very well stocked now, so we'll probably do a water change every month on this, just about a 50% water change. At that time I usually scientifically measured handful of non-iodised salt in there. It just helps to keep away some of those little infections that they can get.
Even though they keep the majority of their turtles outdoors, there is a few species that have to be kept inside where it's nice and warm, like this beautiful pig nose.
Big ponds for all the tropical things during winter. Keep them inside during winter, and in the summer they all go outside for their sort of 8 months of the year.
Healthy turtles will go pretty crazy for a feed, and Andrew and Terence feed a variety of different items to their animals, including some things that most people would probably throw out.
People keep prawn heads for us, and it's just snap the rostrum spike off the top so there's nothing there, because that's not going to go down very well. And the rest of the head is there, so yeah, they love all this sort of stuff. It's pretty unpleasant, but they like the food. There you go.
Look at them all coming out.
In summer we'd probably a few handfuls once a week, maybe feed 3 times a week, and one of the feeds will be this. And when we're away, it's good because someone else can come into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just chuck it in because it's easy. Algae wafers, the darker one is a trout chow, or trout food from the trout farm, and the lighter one is a barramundi food. So I just put them all in here, mix them up, some sink, some float, so it's good.
So different, hey?
Yeah, this is our big Cooper's Creek girl, Emidura, the biggest of the Emidura turtles in Australia, related to the creft. These guys, when they're born, have the creft marking behind the eye, and similarly related to the Negras in Fraser Island, which are a very small Emidura species, one of the smallest Emidura species. So this girl, she's a big cranky cow. We've had a male with her, and she's she just attacks them mercilessly, so we can't put any males with her anymore. She's fine with sawshell turtles and with Albigula, the white-throated snapping turtles, but anything of her same genus she will try and kill. They're not all like that, but she is, and we've just decided to keep her anyway, even though she's a cranky cow.
With a mouth like that, you don't want to take the risk, that's for sure.
yeah. She's she'd go back to the bone pretty quickly if she got hold of you there. She hasn't got hold of me yet, even though I annoy her a little bit. But yeah, ooh, she nearly got me then. I was close then. Very bulky turtle, as you can see, so they're very bulky, both top and bottom, quite heavy, but compared to our other big turtles that have a heavier shell, Emidura have a thinner shell all around. The bony part of the shell is a lot thinner. They get this large head, mostly from, she hasn't really been living on what are they, yabbies and things like that up in Cooper's Creek in Aminka, because she's been in captivity for just about all her life, I'd say, and so her head hasn't got so megacephalic, but in the wild up there you find they have a much larger head. The ones up there from crunching on the shells of those crustaceans.
We've got the big Albigula girl here, Elsea albigula. We've had her for many 15 years now, and as of 2020 she started breeding for us for the first time. Beautiful turtle found in the Mary River, Burnett River and Fitzroy River drainages.
She's actually reasonably, probably on the smaller side for adult female white-throated snappers, Albigula.
I think it's a beast.
This is a Irwin. We've grown up, little girl, we've grown up since, now trying to remember the ages. We've had her for about 12 years, I think. She's probably not quite mature yet, but she's getting there. She developed a white head nice and early. Beautiful looking Irwin eye, and this is a what John Can would call Stirling eye, and Wells and Wellington named them the Stirling eye. So this is, but technically now it's an Irwin eye, so it's still the Irwin eye species. Some stage soon it might be subspeciated, so it might be separated. As you can see, they're quite different looking turtles. I find them quite different anyway. So these are ones from up around the Cairns region, North and South Johnston rivers. These ones are from further down, the Broken River, the Burdekin River, Bowen River, those sort of drainages down further south. This girl should end up getting quite as big as this, I'd say, or a bit bigger. And maturity after probably we're looking at about 15 years, I think, at the bare minimum. I actually really like the look of these ones. Jardine River turtles, painted turtles they're called, Emidura subglobosa. Australian form is now called Emidura subglobosa incubania. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. So beautiful turtle, nice facial markings, beautiful eye stripe, and then of course the colouring underneath.
Stunning.
These both a little bit different. They got colouring in the limb pockets as well. Quite sought after in captivity now. A few people breeding them in Australia. This is two boys. Boys are usually a little bit more colourful than the girls. Long neck species, Bellinger, Longicollis, the eastern long neck that most people would see around here in the eastern states of Australia. Expansa, a broad shell long neck turtle, the longest neck turtle in the world. We've got them here and in South America and in Papua New Guinea. And
then the Chelidina Curichalpongo from the Northern Territory. They range from across the top of the NT.
The western form, this one, from over the western side of the range, as you can tell by the shape. And decent size sort of a girl. They can get a little bit bigger than this. The boys will be smaller, obviously. Expansive, these can get up to about 60 centimetres supposedly. I've never seen them that big, but they're very large turtle. Females get very large. Yeah, you can see the difference in the head, the flatter, wider head, and the eyes sort of more on top with the expanser, and obviously a much longer neck. Kawachilpongo, the Darwin snake neck, has a heavier, a wider head and a heavier neck, a much thicker, heavier neck. Sturdy body, smaller shell relative to the size of the turtle, to the body size. This is a Mary River turtle, Elusor macrurus, from the Mary River, obviously in southeast Queensland. Monotypic genus turtle, one species in the genus, so there's nothing else really like it. We've had this little one from baby from friends who'd bred them up in Queensland. We've had it for 12 years, I think. Got a lot of turtles around that time. Yeah, she's grown up. She gets quite yellow through the summer months, living outside. She's been outside for a number of years. Didn't do as well inside, but as soon as we moved her outside, she just caned it. She gets a little bit of, they always talk about the Mary River turtle being the punk turtle. Yeah. So she gets a little bit of that on her head shield there as well. They get a lot bigger than this. Males is one of the few Australian turtles where the males get bigger than the females. So that different sexual dimorphism. Very sturdy shell. You can feel, even if you can't see in the water, when you pick these guys up, you can always tell when you've got a Mary because of the flaring at the rear, or if you get the sides because of the thickness of the bridge. Just their very thick, heavy bridge at the side. They're quite unique. Quite a small head for the size of the turtle too. And they've got those sensory sort of barbels. They're probably got the biggest ones of those of most turtles in Australia, or excepting some of the long neck species.
So these guys are the Bell's turtle. They're probably in my top 5 of Australian freshwater turtles. They're a beautiful, beautiful turtle. They get slightly larger tubercles, I think, than a lot of the source shells. Myochelys latisternum. These are Myochelys belli. Yeah, they're originally, there's a couple populations in northern New South Wales. This one's from the Namoi. The bells are probably some of the more outgoing of the turtles. They'll sit and hide in the ponds, but in tank environments they're very lively. When it's food time, they'll dominate. They'll push everything out of the way. Yeah, quite an easy turtle to keep. Hopefully through time we can breed a few and spread them through the captive trade, which would be great for the species.
There's a lot of blindness in some of the wild populations in this particular form of belli too, up around the Macdonald River, where just a large percentage of the adults are completely blind. But
they're not really sure. There's not been too much work into trying to work out where that's coming from. Most people are hypothesising it's a contaminant in the water. There's a lot of farming in the upper Macdonald catchment areas like that, so it's very likely to be something like that.
And are they still getting on all right, like the adults that are blind?
So the adults, they are a bit thinner.
Yeah.
And they seem to be eating more vegetative matter than usual, more leaf litter, things that would fall on the surface. So the diet's not as good, and they probably see a long-term effect of that. You might see a long-term effect of that, but for an old, resilient turtle, they're probably doing okay.
Recruitment's the problem in the wild, and that's the big thing. So there's a project up there now that's doing a very good job. They get the gravid females, there's plenty of those, gravid females, they induce, incubate and make at least the hatchlings within a week or so of hatching, which is sort of a good way. It lets nature do its work, I think, allows natural selection to take place. It shortcuts the man-made problem of the introduced foxes and the predators, and you get the eggs are hatching where they would have been without the predators.
So these are the Worrell's turtle. This is one of the girls that we keep outside. She's since keeping her outside has developed a really nice colour through the stripe on the head. They're a beautiful turtle, native to sort of northern Queensland region, down and across the Gulf and into the into the NT. As you can see, they're a bit smaller compared to a few of the other Emigura that you typically see. Sort of more southern Emigura. They're a pretty alright turtle to keep. You can get the odd cranky one, but in terms of husbandry and things like that, they're pretty happy. Keep them warm while they're a bit younger, because they are from those northern regions, but they're surprisingly cold up in those northern regions, the rivers, particularly through winters. So these ones have sort of done okay in our backyard here in suburban Sydney.
I think they're a bit of an overlooked species compared to the other subspecies, just with the colour difference, but I think they're just absolutely gorgeous.
That's it, yeah. The subglobosa, Emigura subglobosa often get all the first place awards, but I think these guys certainly deserve some. This guy's an Alcea dentata from the NT. They're quite widespread across the NT, and in my personal opinion vary quite a bit, whether that be the Daly sort of river and Victoria rivers, and then up in the northern parts, and then Europa again sort of look different. Yeah, they're a beautiful turtle. This guy we've had for quite a few years now. We got him as a sort of juvie, and his colour has just come to life. The slightly lighter cornified scales behind the eyes are just beautiful. Pinkish nose and a yellowish sort of underside and skin.
A little bit of red that goes into the
feet
there,
as well. Yeah, it's unreal. They can get a bit boisterous, these guys, and sometimes will chase the others, but with the right setup and the right sort of hiding spaces and things, they do well, like most turtles. So yeah, he's one of the ones that lives inside in the winter and out in the summer. It's doing really well. So this here is a Fitzroy River turtle, the Rheodites leucops. They're a very unique turtle, particularly in the water. We sort of call them the mid-neck turtle because of their neck being slightly longer than most short-neck turtles in Australia. They're very unique, bright white eyes, and quite a large beak where they used to scrape algae quite often off logs and rocks and things like that. They're also a monotypic genus, one single species in their genus, found in the Fitzroy catchment. This guy is now
How old? 2 years old.
2 years old.
3.
Yeah, one of a couple that we've got.
Yeah, very unique.
Yeah.
The old common name when they were first discovered was the white-eyed river diver, and the Latin, the interpretation is in Latin, I think. Rheodites leucops. That's what that means.
These guys are also one of the most prolific bum breathers for our Australian freshwater turtles. They you see the cloaca at the bottom there, just closed for this moment. In the water, that cloaca will open quite large, and they'll suck and pump water into the bursa in and out. And you can actually see the bursa in the leg socket, those lighter sort of organs right on the edge there of the leg socket. That's actually the bursa, a bit hard to see, but yeah, the inside of that membrane sort of looks like an anemone, and water just passes over it and
extracts oxygen,
takes oxygen out. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Okay, this is Bellinger River turtle, like Ellie's George's eye. Little one, only a year old, this guy, and we've got another older one, but we couldn't catch it today. Beautiful light coloured eyes, like the Fitzroy. Critically endangered species. These are bred by Michael Goff up at Dubbo. He's been breeding them every year for a while now. In the wild, these guys went into a severe decline with the virus that went through the river system, and there was only really probably only a few dozen of them left in the end. We don't really know how many are left in the river, but some were taken and they're in captive breeding colonies now in Sydney. And yeah, beautiful turtle outgoing in a tank. when you get them into the pond, they go back to the real wild state, and they are very shy when they're in a pond. Hence why we couldn't catch the bigger one over there before. The Macleay River turtles, a subspecies from the Macleay River in New South Wales. Not really a recognised subspecies now, but we still call them Macleay River turtles. They're unique because they stay fairly small. These are fully mature adults, female and a male, and you can see that beautiful eye colour there, distinguishing feature. Very pretty eyes. They're different to a lot of other Macquarii, the Murray River turtle and things in the shape. They're sort of more oval shaped. Males are a little bit different to the females. They're unique most of the time. They're quite dark like this. We've seen them in the wild with fairer colour than this and also darker than this. And we breed a few of these, you know, like 1 or 2 clutches a year usually. And it's interesting, some of the clutches, we've had clutches where within the one clutch you've got a very fair plastron, very fair underside and a very dark underside within the one clutch. Now this could be just the variation due to parentage. It could be because they're multiple paternity, because the mother has 2 boyfriends.
Yeah.
So it could be for a number of reasons, but they're sought after in captivity because they stay quite small. We find them to be quite hardy. People say they're difficult to look after, but we've never found them difficult to look after. They've always been easy to keep. Not easy to breed. It took us many years before they started breeding for us, but they're quite happy and they're content, and they breed well now. Just with regards to sexing, the tail length is the important thing with our short-necked species. These are Amidura. Female has a short tail with a cloaca closer to the anal scutes, and then the male has a long tail with the cloaca extended a good distance away. Now a lot of people will say, put their picture of their little turtle up on a site and say, tell me if it's a male or a female, and when they're little everyone says it's a female. Now this is a sawshell turtle. This could be 2 years old. It could be a male, it could be a female. We just don't know. But if you put that up on a site, everyone will say it's a female, and we just don't know because everything looks female until it matures. And most short-necked species, Macquarii, the Murray River turtle, if you overfeed them, they'll grow fast and they might become obvious in 2 years' time. In the wild, you'd usually start to tell the difference, tell the sex by about 3 years old, and males might mature by about 5 years old, females a little bit later. Same with sawshell turtles, similar sort of age. They will usually mature in 5, 6, 7 years.
With the long neck species as well, sometimes you can have, particularly with longicollis, but also with some of the Northern Territory Curruchelpongo and the Rugosa through Queensland, you'll get sort of short-tailed males and slightly longer-tailed females. So even using tail length as an indicator, which is probably the most reliable indicator for all long neck species, even using tail length can sometimes fool you. So, you know, even with experience, you can get sexing wrong.
Wow, I don't know about you guys, but I certainly learned a lot more about our Australian turtle. So many species that most of us probably didn't even know existed. It's incredible to get a closer look. I can't thank Andrew and Terence enough for having me around. It was an amazing day and I definitely learned a lot. Now if you guys want to follow them, make sure you hit up Terence on his Instagram right here. And if you want to get in touch with Andrew, you can message him on Facebook. Their links will be in the description below as well. And if you want to see more Australian reptile videos, make sure you subscribe, give the video a like, and I'll see you on the next episode.